2-1 losses for the brave garrison of Reich leave another 410 Reichlanders dead on the field. But there can be no question. The people of Reich were lucky the warherd was weakened already. The Emperor would commend the commander's bravery in charging alone headlong into the enemy and promise him a prestigious position in the Imperial army when needed. After the victory, word from Nordland comes that Norscan raiders have begun rallying troops on the shore across the Sea of Claws. They must be driven back to show to the Empire of Man that Karl Franz is fit to rule. Ancient stone circles were discovered which were remnants of the old faith. Evidence exists that show there may still be active practitioners of the long-thought-dead religion. News of this cult worship has made its way to the cults of the Empire who seek always to destroy and subvert any religion other than their own, deeming such things as heretical and mere distractions from the one true religion. The imperial cults hold a great deal of political sway and must be appeased. Karl Franz chooses to bribe the cults to remain ignorant to the heathens lest there be unrest, and moves to follow the escaping warherd.
Pick up the pace.
Sigmar's heir orders the barracks in Altdorf to be demolished to make way for royal stables as Grunberg completes construction of their own barracks. Altdorf would no doubt be able to create far grander stables for the army than any other city in the province. Elgar Solman, still garrison in Altdorf, continues to recruit and hires 3 regiments of Free Company militia temporarily until the Grunberg barracks are upgraded. An emissary of Kazrak the One-Eye reaches the imperial army of Karl Franz as they march and begs the emperor for peace. The emissary is summarily executed for the disrespect. His severed head would be sent back to the warherd as a reply, but the scouts would locate on their way to send the emperor's word a hidden beast path deep within the Reikwald forest. Karl Franz quickly moves and intercepts the fleeing warherd outright. As battle formation is ordered, Sigmar's chosen lead the march, flanked on either side by 2 regiments of swordsmen and 1 of pikemen. To the east, the 3 regiments of Free Company militia and the Reichsguard would prevent any flanking by Barksy. As is custom, the handgunners and mortars would bring up the rear, though their usefulness in this swampy terrain would be middling at best. Karl Franz would support the militia to the east, while Gideon van Melisk, the devout warrior priest, would support the west, with Fritz near the handgunners and mortars. After a short march onto the beast path, the ground would shake and the deafening roar of hooves and feverish growls drawing nearer would spur the imperial army to hasten into position. The army's march would come to a halt as the cloven ones drew ever nearer. Charging ferociously through the woods, the beastmen met the army head-on. The Ungor archers to the rear of the formation would fire, but in the densely wooded forest, many arrows were ineffective, which granted the Imperials some safety from their barrage. This battle would offer no tactical movement or maneuvering. This battle would be a sheer test of wills. On the east and west flanks, hideous warhounds with venomous bites, mixed in with the beastmen chaff, would threaten the infantry. The beastmen, sometimes for weeks before a battle, would lock up and starve the warhounds, known for sometimes killing entire brayherds in a single night, so they were ravenous with hunger when battle came. Just as in this battle, they would charge any spear wall with reckless abandon. The preferred use of the warhounds is to not outright kill their prey, but to instead enjoy the sport of chasing the prey until it gives up from exhaustion, whereupon it is beset by the warhounds and warherd. The thought of this spurs Gideon to fight even harder to slay the abominations. The mortars would be unable to gain a firing solution, but the handgunners let loose volley after volley as they could. Barksy himself, casting foul magics, would charge headlong into the battle, just east of Sigmar's Chosen, leaving holes in the swordsman formation. After winning the eastern flank handily, the Reiksguard managed to push northward behind the beastmen and harass their archers. Free Company militia performed valiantly, supported by the Reiksguard, and held their own against the odds. As the lines began to falter, the militia and the Reiksguard rushed forward and chased the fleeing beastmen until no more could the beat of hooves be heard. The warherd of the One Eye would be defeated in its entirety to the last Ungor. Nearly 1,700 dead beastmen at the cost of nearly 350 loyal Reichlanders. Just then, Marienburg declared war on Reichland, seeing the opportunity to make some quick cash. They are a people known for their trade guilds, which are exceptionally prosperous, and their unique mix of Bretonnian and Imperial influence. Though not all bad, they are known for being particularly crafty and eager to make a quick buck where they can, and given their prosperity, their ability to field massive Talayan armies rapidly. Immediately after the declaration of war, a Marienburger army descends on the border town of Eilhart. 1,400 strong, the Marienburgers marched, but would find the surrounding boroughs empty, for the Eilhart garrison had rallied in a nearby wooded area. Leaving a mortar team as bait, they would coax the Marienburgers in. There wasn't a doubt in any of the Reichlanders' minds this battle would come at a great cost, and defeat was almost certainly assured. But by hiding in the woods, led by the stunningly loyal and brave Dietz Ludenhof, they stood the greatest chance of preventing the superior archers of the Marienburgers from scoring hits. Eckhard Fluss of Marienburg led his troops, and atop his warhorse galloped toward the mortar team. As he closed, a regiment of pikemen would rush from the woods to catch him. If everything went to plan, the 3 Reichland crossbow regiments would also charge forth and defeat him rapidly. But the army behind Fluss was too near. Scores of crossbow bolts would ravage the Reiklander crossbowmen before the mortar team's solution was dialed in. The frontline troops of Marienburg would clash with the swordsmen of Eilhart, and to the east, Marienburger knights would prod at the lines, attempting to exploit any temporary weakness. The battle was one of attrition. The mortars, concealed to the larger army by the woods, continued to fire on the troops outside the trees, as Dietz Ludenhof would bravely fight dozens of swordsmen under constant barrage.
wavering! As long as we outnumber them, we will hold! Ulrich's wolves charge with us! Now we strike forward, men! Don't give them an inch! We will kill them all! Fight, men! Fight for our right to live! Now we strike! Forward, men! Don't give them an inch!
The troops began to tire, though. The pikemen could no longer effectively chase the cavalry, and the swordsmen had been engaged too long in melee. Morale began to waver. As Reichlanders would flee from the trees, the knights would give chase, ensuring there would be no fleeing. It was do or die.
As long as we outnumber them, we will hold!
Enraged, the Reichlanders fought harder. The Marienburgers saw this and began to break despite their superior numbers. A full-scale rout of the front line gave the Reichlanders some much-needed breathing room as the Marienburg knights flanked to the south and attempted to silence the mortars.
We outnumber them, we will hold! Die, traitor! Fight, men!
The crossbowmen in the forest would turn their attention to the knights as pikemen marched toward them to delouse the team. When the pikemen met the knights in battle again, the knights immediately fled at their resolve. At great cost, the battle would be won against all odds. Nordland, on hearing about Karl Franz's desire to cut off the Norskins, would offer military access to their lands for just a nominal fee.
Yet here you are. Friend or foe, we will see.
Fritz would further study his magic, and Elgar Solman, still in Altdorf, would recruit 3 more regiments of swordsmen. Sometime later, the barracks in Altdorf had been demolished fully and stables would be constructed, and at the same time, Grunberg would upgrade their training field to a rally field, finally granting access for Reichland to have higher quality troops and strengthening the eastern border of the Reichland. Karl Franz would have his revenge for the assault on Eilhart and march to meet Fluss and his decimated army on the field.
Fight with us, not against!
As the lines met, Karl Franz would charge forward in a dazzling show of force, striking down infantrymen as he went. He would spot Fluss and immediately turn his attention to him as Fritz cast spells from the back line against the charging Marienburger infantry. East of the lines, the Free Company militia would rush to flank the Marienburgers and demoralize them.
Charge with us! Don't stop until they're all dead!
Seeing Fluss so easily defeated, morale was shaken, and Marienburg troops quickly fled from the front.
Kill everything! They are wavering! Forward, man!
To the west, a regiment of swordsmen would charge toward a crossbowman regiment atop a hill, who continued to threaten the Reichland troops. Morale was shattered, and bedlam took hold of the battlefield. Karl Franz ordered the front line be reformed as the Free Company militia stood to the east and prevented Marienburg flight.
It better not miss fire! Death to the enemy! Get out! Brace yourselves!
Those that did manage to escape would be chased and slain by either the militia or the Reichsguard. A message had to be sent that this aggression would not stand.
The gods have abandoned us! Fight men! Fight for the right to live! Charge with us!
316 Marienburgers slain at the cost of 97 Reichlanders. For such a small battle, the casualties were unusually high for Reichland. The war for Marienburg would require a change in strategy if it were to continue. Between the two wars, the War of the One Eye has seen 1,467 Reichlanders slain, with 3,528 beastmen slain. The Marienburger War, still in its infancy, has seen 658 Reichlanders killed, with 786 Marienburgers killed on the field of battle. Dagmar's chosen Greatsword Regiment has, since adopting the name, 320 kills to its credit.